and we look at major stories them where they make headlines at the front pages of with different local newspaper them at the country. And for help me discuss on then some of them topics there, they make headline at the paper they get with me at the studio, Solomon Sundu.
Good morning.
And also Amadou Jallo. Amadou Ba. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Joss.
All right, we'll start with own AYV newspaper and see what's in there at the front page. This one says President Bio attends over 50 bilateral meetings at the UN General Assembly. Tourism Minister holds partnership meeting in Saudi Arabia. And United States announces $450,000 grant to preserve all FBC. That time stories and we make headlines at the front page of the AYV newspaper. Second peak na political newspaper. Government APC to begin talks. School closed in Kenema after people dies. Guma warns of water shortage. Concern over fertilizer supply in Port Loko. That are some of the stories them way in the political newspaper in front page. We next speak, we get the satellite newspaper as Parliament set to resume sittings. Elected APC MPs desperate to take oaths. We will take legal action against any staff caught in fraudulent act. SLCB Corporate Affairs Director speaks. AFDB consultants on Lungi Bridge meets Minister of Finance. Some of the stories then where they make headlines at the satellite newspaper. Our next speak is the Standard Times newspaper. Scandalous. SLCB Company Secretary administer fraud. Poor network coverage. NATCA to address. Stories them where they make headline at the Standard Times newspaper. We next speak at the exclusive newspaper. We get on the front page. US denies claims President Bio is entitled to his views. David Senge, Samuel Kamara meets. To preserve old Frobe College, United States announces 450,000 grants. Stories where they make headline at the exclusive newspaper. We next speak at the A to Z newspaper on its front page. Africa Energy Week 2023 in South Africa, Sierra Leone to unlock opportunities in oil and gas sector. Engineering consultants assess feasibility of Lungi Bridge project. United States announced 450,000 grants to preserve old Frobe College. And EPA launches national validation workshop on bar. Some of the stories already make headlines at the A to Z newspaper. We next speak at the Independent Observer newspaper. We get on the front page. Uganda opens consulate office in Freetown. Thugs attack Gateway Evangelical Church. We will take legal action against any staff caught in fraudulent act, quoting SLCB Corporate Affairs Director. Our next speak is the Awareness Time newspaper. As if public school is commissioned, soldiers' wives complementing talk and do agenda. Well, that's the leading story on the Awareness Times newspaper. We next speak at the Global Times newspaper. Nabila Tunis attends World Tourism Day in Saudi Arabia. Lungi Bridge in top gear. UADF donate computers to school. ACF promotes climate resilience farming. Stories where they make headlines at the Global Times newspaper. We next speak at the Voice of Salon newspaper. APC government mediation process to commence soon. Bio gives fake promise to ADP. Islam minister a sacred cow. Albinism information book guide for teachers launch. Some of the stories that we make headlines now the Voice of Salon newspaper. And we next speak at the Expo Times newspaper. I am not worried about APC constitution, quoting Mohamed Bangura. Substandard phones affect poor network. NATCA boss. No more war, but peace, President George Weah assured Liberian. Chief Minister engages Samuel Kamara. ESL collaborates with Kamal Abdel Nasser University to promote digital education in Sierra Leone. Stories where they make headlines at the front page of the Expo Times newspaper. Our next pick is the Concord Times newspaper. Criminal enterprise, how two European investors allegedly connive to undermine investment in Sierra Leone. Leone Rockmets, a group transforming Sierra Leone mining industry to positive impact. EPA organizes validation workshop on bar. Well, that's not some stories that they make headlines now. Now the Concord Time newspaper. Well, now all the people they will get now the studio today, and we go begin the discussion on some of them issues there where they make headline at different newspaper them. I will start with the very first one where AYV we get on the front page. President Bio attends over 50 bilateral meetings at the Union Engineering Assembly. I just read an excerpt of the story. Sierra Leone's Minister of Information and Civic Education, Chenoba, has said this year's United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio attended over 50 successful bilateral meetings. Minister Ba described this year's UN General Assembly as the most successful outing Sierra Leone has had in the past 60 years at the UN General Assembly. He disclosed that Sierra Leone is not just a member of the United Nations Security Council, but is now going to be the chair of the United Nations Security Council in 2024. Well, gentlemen, let's start first with this very first story. Presidents attend the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. We see, according to the Minister of Information and Civic Education, President gets an opportunity for attend over 50 bilateral meetings. What do they look forward to from their meetings there as a country?
Okay. Of course, we see the president with a delegation of 24 men, as according to the Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education, Keke Thomas Andy, one of our platform then. It is a good thing we don't begin get reports from on the numbers, the number of meetings or engagements that we actually get.
Okay.
And we also see 3 engagements and they will be very, very much standouts in all of this. One being for do the ICC engagement, the MCC CEO engagement, and as well as the education, the global partnership with, on education, engagement as well. So the engagement and they be standouts because we see the ICC prior to the ONGA SEF, we don't get speculations on how the president is wanted by the ICC because they get a matter where they want for looking to, so or he was going for an investigation specifically. Though we see again a counter statement to that being come out from the government angle, but again we see say after the engagement, the president used his own social media platform for inform Sierra Leoneans as to what's the engagements been there for. Where then say the engagements been there purely about how the ICC going for work with Sierra Leone, being part of the non-permanent seats in the Security Council. So we find out say that they now can't allay people then fear. I mean the political tension around that particular engagement they finally been can lead to rest. And then we also see the MCC parts where you understand say the MCC boss still continue for lead and young case say there are some controversies really around the election business and they want to know what's in the president's own part. And of course we understand say the president explained in stand telling them that the election was conducted under the laws of Sierra Leone and the institution we get a mandate there for conduct the election. Now they do that. So we see inside the MCC continue for say then committed to working with Sierra Leone, but they will make sure the country for just make sure say we maintain the democratic stance of the country, and which I believe say the relationship between America and that of Sierra Leone is still the augur well because we see recently even the recent let's just say the ambassador we just come in, we invite both sides, you know, from the political sector for let them go meet 9 hosts. We see the results we then they come with. In one of these stories that we read now, we see the chief minister, Dr. David Moni Nasenge, get an engagement with Dr. Samura Kamara, and we be seeing seven post standing. So all then signed and they show you say, we don't, the engagements, some of the engagement, they yield dividend because we see signs of the engagements and they foresee them necessary because we see how the engagement, like I said earlier on, the ICC case come to rest. It came to rest after we finally, we see waiting presidents meet them for. And then we also see the MCC issue self come to rest small because we can foresee say some amount of understanding, don't they? So we just hope say all of these engagements with President Bio then go come back with results, we go benefit the government and the people of Sierra Leone. Because eventually all of these engagements, I believe, say now on and behalf of the country, now in the president gets the engagements they are for.
Okay, before I move over to Sunu, let's just ask you this quick. According to the minister, Salone not only don't be a member of the United Nations Security Council, but for chaired the United Nations Security Council in 2024. So what does this mean for the global standing of the country?
Well, truth be told, other presidents Bio in government, I mean, you go give credit to Saidu. Apart from what you hear in a salon, but on the global stage, we don't they make some impacts because him being the chair for the G7, I think say that applause to we. And Sierra Leone for chair the 2024
National Security Council.
UN National Security Council meeting, I believe say that they go bring another plus to the country in pedigree. And these are the things we make some of we think say all waiting then the politicians they need for do is put aside the personal vendettas, come together. I mean, we can agree without being disagreeable. Now something we need for do, as long as we they represent the flag at the top there. And maybe let's say we presence at the Security Council, and in one of the presidents in speech then that it is a concern to Africa that Africa now get a permanent seat at the Security Council. And that's not only come out from President Bio. Other president then say that same thing there. The president of Zambia himself make that same statement there. So now you they begin to say Sierra Leone kind of like they can set the pace for African countries. So until the next year we'll go here, but the non-give one African country a seat now the permanent category because for now it is non-permanent. It means say you are limited, and it is a good thing. So I mean, that is a plus for saying an African country and a West African country and a country like Sierra Leone, small country like a Salone with 7 million people. So let's just say, I mean, you can't take that away from the government for have gotten that particular opportunity. Now something we every Sierra Leonean need to be proud about. And it go fine if we set the record for be the first country we go get a permanent seat in that Security Council there in the side of Africa.
All right, coming over to you, Solomon. Over 50 bilateral meetings where presidents attend at this year's UN General Assembly. What's the expectation from the meetings there?
Thank you, Morovia. I think I just want for like buttress, of course, me colleague panelists don't dilate or dissect on so many issues we border within, international, affairs. For me, this UN General Assembly for Sierra Leone speak a lot and with big volume, so to speak. If we are say by the Minister of Information, say we president attend over 50 bilateral meetings. It means say Sierra Leone as a small country, we don't move ahead, for do exactly within democracy entail, within the world they look at, for make Africa as a continent self begin the move towards that kind of strive there. So without meeting we start from measure the ICC, MCC, we look at climate change, we in the global, phenomenon. Right now, the whole world is battle with climate change. Where for me, Sierra Leone, if you look at the status, reports don't only come out, say we are the third prone country towards, climate change. And we see exactly what's in the happen within the African. We just see what's happen in Morocco, we see what's happen in Libya. So, I mean, we serve my part of the thing in the. I always can say, when we talk about globalization, it means, say, if Sierra Leone today, if USA Sidona, if I sneeze, America will catch the cold. If America sneezes, and we say they catch the cold. Not enough for make, we they apart. Now for let the world save the America, the big ones, let them begin bring come then small country then. We, for make themselves sit down. Because if we don't make them sit down, peace no day, na then country then they, themselves no they get rest. My brother mentioned the MCC, we then tie up to elections and other criteria. But before this time, we see outside MCC come, then see Sierra Leone don't pass the benchmark of good governance, democratic processes, and the likes.
And for benefits of the compact.
Exactly. But we see now, after elections, we know, unfortunately, the America ambassador attached, or other people attached something to that one day. For me, now that's always I can say, we internal affairs, we the talk, we the strive for the development go before. The leaders them we in authorities, we political parties them. Now make we call them this time, make them become responsible, them for be responsible, more especially with political parties them. Because government they run without strong political party, a strong opposition, now any democratic states. It means say you therefore interject, the inadequacies of the governments in power. They give too much burden to civil society. Now that make you see say Sierra Leone, the civil society don't become so embodied. Why? Because the opposition know they do their work properly. Now we go call for say we not get good road, we not get good this, we not get electricity up to this time with this battle with so many things way in our development. And I think that what we need. Me and I will kind of sit down, Solomon Sundu will begin call say we need water, we need good thing. Recently are they on salary harmonization. All of them thing we need the policy driven side, like the opposition side. If then the parliament, which will they talk? If they don't create her into policies, where they reach under, and then it transform her into law. They make it work for all sector. So for me, then 50 bilateral meetings the way president gets, we get for do, especially with Sierra Leone in Africa, it mean a lot. What thing we for do now as a country? And you just see outside the minister measure say the next UN General Assembly, Sierra Leone will be the chair. That's good news. You see what thing can make some of we can talk?
The Security Council.
And the Security Council, the non-permanent seats. It mean a lot. And you see also president and a member of the C10, right? They don't do a lot internationally. At a point, we see outside everybody, they say, in the midst of this economic hardship, global economic hardship, the president just travel. But how you for know what's in the president they travel for? Now that will be the talk to authorities and where they in charge. Let governments not be in secrecy. Open governments. What's in the president they go do? What's in the bring come? What's in that for me for Sierra Leone? Now then see how they see so today. It means say waiting some of you can't talk. Well, nobody can see don't talk slush. Now waiting for make Sierra Leone develop. This now the dividends and today where they heal. And if you look at what's happening at the world, the kind way Sierra Leone don't grow internationally. When we president turn up on that platform, it they talk like now for Salon no more they talk. They talk for Africa as a whole. My brother, you see the overwhelming vote who gets for become a member of the non-permanent seats. It's how you say other African countries they really see what in Sierra Leone they go through. We don't get how many democratic elections like this country. We don't see how the transformation don't take place from one political party to another. We'll get all we alala. And we saw that alala they come out. Now we see the electoral law. We see Usai, the undersecretary of the United States. A Canada, they say that they in line with Sierra Leone and they're ready for work with Sierra Leone. All we need, Then we electoral laws them, where they make we get ala from SLPP, then cry foul, APC, now they cry foul. What we all need for Sidon now do? Now for let we bring can we self together and say, then laws there, another work again for we at this, 21st century. Let we all sit down and put her now into black and white in line with the national constitution. Because every year, every electoral pronouncements, when we get elections, we carve laws in, and the laws outside they go. Now parliament. So it means say the institution itself is governed by electoral laws. And then laws, and if somebody now say, well, you want for we project results, we're not the insider law. You know they work that way there. Then if the law tell you say if you misguided by one or two things or you become disenfranchised, go to the Supreme Court so that they will interpret all of them saying for we not they in line. Now I make with the advice, do your citizens of this country, let me hold the peace. Things are difficult all over the world. I listened this morning, I see Birmingham, the second capital city, the whole city council, right? Don't say they don't go bankrupt, they don't even for run the city council. You know what they mean? Now a bullet for every African nation. For say we serve for Tina for we serve. Long term, we don't see they talk say vision 2025, vision 3030, African for able for take care of irresponsibility. Now we don't begin to see so now. Because too much over dependence on them country and they then say get their own, thing and where they battle with. Let we come together now and say, within this 5 year, like this administration don't talk about the big five, feed Sierra Leone, education, human capacity building, climate change, energy. I think saying that's now we all for consolidate as a country so that we will move forward.
All right, so move forward to another story. They make headlines now, different newspaper. APC government to begin talks. And here on the satellite newspaper, it says Parliament set to resume sittings, elected APC MPs desperate to take oaths. And here again from the exclusive newspaper, it says David Senge, Samura Kamara meets. Let's just read the first one, and political newspaper, it says government APC to begin talks. The publicity sector of the opposition APC has said after a round of preliminary meetings with the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion and the international mediators, including the Commonwealth, his party is now waiting for a date to be set for substantive talks. Speaking to Politico in an interview on Tuesday, CDI Achini said we have passed all necessary documents, presented all necessary documents regarding the dialogue, and it is now up to the mediators to take the next step following the declaration. All right. And this one, they tell we say, as Parliament sets to resume sitting, selected APC MP to take the. What are you this on exclusive newspaper? We say David Senge and all. Story. Sorry, story there.
I think so. We all know this story. Not to tell
right. I just want to get another. Gentlemen,
we know the story.
Yeah. Let's start with you, Amadou. After 3 months after the elections, we still see this issue between the government and also the main opposition for seats in the round table and iron out the issues them way they don't get. The opposition raise out series of issues them way, then gets around in the electoral process and we make them say they not go participate in the governance process. But from what we don't see now different in local tabloid them. Government and the APC finally don't they find headway for Sidom and dialogue as this they come up from the publicity sector of the APC party, which they don't make all necessary presentation of documents and just they wait for a date now where the talk will commence. What does this mean for we as a country? Because we don't drag foot for a very long time, and how this only affects the country in development one?
Well, to start with, now good news for say APC finally don't say then one for begin then get plan now for begin talk with government. And it good say now from the publicity sector, Mr. CDI Tunis now in this message also come out from. Now good news, especially to we the Sierra Leoneans, we believe say governance is not supposed to be run by one individual or by an individual party. You know, for law we forget sustainable development or alternative development plans. We need to get a very rigid and a stiff opposition. We go criticize government alternatively. Me go tell you for free, say, APC asked that because what happened, they don't lead this country for 11 years. I mean, we see what they don't achieve in terms of governance. So if they can't opposition, everybody they expect say, therefore they for perform that duty day, just like what Mr. Sundu say earlier on. The burden don't they to them the civil society now.
Exactly.
If they not can they advocate for water not go reach in a certain community. If they not can then talk because what happen. Many times to me they look at and say, we politicians then can take personal vendetta, then also bring them into the play of politics. On both sides. And now that's now don't they eat into the fabrics of redevelopment. Because we don't get series of elections in this country now. In the sense, we get them, we don't get presidential elections, we don't get local council elections, we get parliament chieftaincy elections. All the elections and they get small plabber. But the community they not can decide say, no, forget about all thing, let one person just hold all thing. It don't make sense. It is not for the first time we don't get this kind of thing at this country. We understand the stance of the other party, then say we don't want to make this continue for happen now the system of election
Governance.
or with governance, so to speak. Nobody know for use the wrong means for coming to governance. But again, where the evidence is, me as a common Sierra Leonean, I ask myself, as much as you want facts for me, all right, but me want to know first, where are the evidences? Who say we don't get the proof saying so it don't really happen like how you did make us so now. Every other means we've been exhausted. The courts where they mean for use, that particular opportunity we've been exhausted. So if last, then don't reach now to that table for say let them sit down with government and talk. The only thing when we go suggest in this case, because now we still wait for dates to be set for this particular meeting. Let them go meet for discuss the dialogue, get the dialogue proper one. In this process where we did so now, we did not fix the date yet. We both sides will be very careful. Because what happen, you know how long I reach back na that table.
Then it's a way go in
then,
the whole process.
When I start for talk first, but waiting happen in the process when I start for dialogue. And for me, as a country, if we say we cry too much about the problems and not profiling solutions, we'll get for the direct foots first. Nobody know for glad to say certain like the MCC scorecard will be non-pass. Nobody know for glad to say MCC they hold on to the development plan that we forget for this country because of election. Nobody know for be happy like you in opposition. Because let's say them people then they didn't plan for can put like over 400 million per energy, for instance. If we get stable energy in this country, I mean, everybody they enjoy as a Sierra Leonean. So we should not be happy that that is happening. Rather, we try to see how they settle this. But by and large, now a good thing where then the politicians they don't finally agree, say let's talk, because we can't continue like this as a country. We just need for talk and find solution to the problems. Again, in the reforms where they go on for create in the electoral laws of this country, they have to think out of the box.
Well, one thing we're very much unique, every election, we don't get recommendations where they don't count for reform, electoral reforms. Is it that we know don't they work on some of the reforms that they will make every year, every time we get election, issues like this will come up, one party not agree and this not agree, and call for other reform back?
You know, in this UN General Assembly, I didn't want to say this, but I say it because that particular part, na the man in speech very important for let all Africans get him. Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya of Guinea make a strong statement where he say the Westman then therefore allow we more try for solve we own problems then. Locally, the way we feel say we able for handle them. You understand? You see some of the laws then we they inside this 2023 Elections Act. All our recommendations from the EU. But we see after our election, even the EU get problem with the election, not so. So it tells you that we leaders then get for come together and try for be sincere
And
when they make some of the laws then.
And also, honestly, that they bring me to the other question.
Yeah.
Indeed, they allow we follow settle with difference and it gets out to your affairs there. But how will we be able to do away trust not the among ourselves?
Well, that make I tell you about sincerity. Sincerity. Our leaders need to be sincere in the sense that they're serving this country. If today now you in a power, you get to know say the tendencies because politics na game. Me I can always tell people that politics na game. The how you pick your team, na so your team go play na the field and score the goal for you. We all know that. Damn that there's no secret about it. But you get to know say sometimes you know go set your team fire and then your team can go out. So in the midst of power, what you for do, you need to be sincere to yourself. Policies where you pass, let it be in the interest of the country. In that every single Sierra Leonean go know say this law they in favor of me. That man not just make them for favor them. Because that has been the problem. The laws where politicians they make can come back, it can't hunt them at the end of the day. So the need for be sincere when they do them reforms they are, especially in the electoral law, because too much cloud on day. And like what me elder brother say earlier on, a bad for any election, somebody can say no, they make with democracy just priority like carry day. And we for don't they move now.
Right.
For don't they move past that.
And I will bring you inside, Solomon. The meeting between Dr. Samuel Kamara and also the Chief Minister finally be facilitated by the U.S. Ambassador. We don't see lack of trust among state institutions in this country. We are at the point that we call outsiders for come settle differences. What does this mean for we as a country? If we issues then will happen among we not get any trusted institution who will look out to it, we say they set up the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion for this political issue there. But they on their own not be able to bring two parties there together. Pass they involve external bodies them before they don't see say okay, yes, okay, we need for come together and settle.
I mean, at the start with Usai, you end them. I mean bad. I mean say na bad cook we cook for we safe, and that cook we all know we able eat them at a point. We no good for the country. Any bad law, we day na governance you put, right? It haunts you back. So you start again for talk about. Every election year, we get recommendations. Let we use now these 2023 elections or 2018 will be happen. We they observe elections with international partners then. We they come, like we will kinde with, and see them as strangers them. We they move along, we they see recommendations in the way they can put out. Now 2023 elections would expect say the recommendations in way that we don't give out for 2018 will reflect the 2023 elections. Wait for me, I think say na the crux day. If EU they come, AU come, ECOWAS come, other local observers them, we all put we report them together. For say in the next elections, we go want for make una, think of Usai, one, for example, the late arrival of ballots or election materials, right? If for happen, then we see inside this 2023 election, the same thing occur, right? Then we see back for tell you say, okay, now polling agents in, then go there, so, then for make sure say then dinner all the polling stations then or party representations inside this election, Boku side, Boku party do not be get party representations. So for me, when we talk about reforms or electoral reforms, you talk of trust. This is the thing we always make him say if I can them program there, year in, year out. We talk about institutions. How we forget, the credits in those institutions and we governments they create. Now we they create them. Like the Peace Commission, for example. Before the Peace Commission they create, who side the recommendation come out? Now the TRC. He recommend that from Pakaba in 10, let Pakaba, blessed memory, he not able for implement that one day. We see Dr. Honest by Kromasef can himself not able to implement that one day. This government can, before they institute the Peace Commission, we get a whole session on, a national peace cohesion or dialogue in whatever we call experts where we all are part of that kind of thing. We all take part and give a contribution. I've been humanitarian, right? Yeah. If they don't create the Peace Commission from that recommendation, I think in an area that we all political party, right? Forget about your political affiliation, but let me get respect in the institutions and if we follow America, one of the biggest or eloquent president with me, I can say now one of the mentors that one day we they talk in advocacy. Say in Africa, we don't need elephants or lion men or giants men, but we need stronger institutions like the Peace Commission for B1. But if now the opposition they say they don't get confidence, they don't get trust in the institution, it means say now big thing. You see the opposition they talk say they don't get confidence in the court system again. Now big trouble one day. You see the opposition they talk say most of the institutions in a way set up by government, even themselves, where be they in a power like where my brother mentioned, they don't get confidence in the institution and again. What's in the cause that? Now lack of trust in themselves, because when you did it, for example, such a decision the way we leader they take. Wait till they rebound against them. Right? Now we take when we sack some man in this country here. Using the courts. This court look and then say the president they get right, for which we all know say not correct. And when they talk say when you make bad law, that bad law they haunt you. Most of them judges and they will be sit on that case stay when it comes to international work, right? So they don't get mind for saying they don't apply for them because the moment you apply for and they will begin ask you. How many cases have you judged in favor or against your state, or which can replicate it in international arena? All right. So you make sure. I make what the talk say. Let with political parties them. Now over 3 months, we did on this. Bo, my brother mentioned about the evidences. We all be the things say after the court. After the election or the announcement of results. This issue here for in a court, also for test again the Supreme Court on electoral matters. But they're not doing one. Now we are getting this where one of the director they talk about say they don't get case with nobody. In fact, this 2023 election now one of the most credible election where ECSLM conduct. You know the yardstick we use? They say nobody not carry one a court. Nobody not take them to court. It means that they do their work fine. Wherefore we, now that will be the expect say, if APC, the party, disenfranchised with any electoral law, where then law and then be sit on a parliament, C4C, NGC, APC, SLPP, now they all make this tier for who saw the subsidy. They already become contagious. They can't go to court when a PR system. And right. Now so they court sit down back, then tell we how it happened. So for me, if now that they sit down back, then still we call international partners them. Well, I be always they say then foreign people the way they come for country don't talk case. Then come on a country we governed by law. Then we tell we say their own country, they don't get electoral laws. No. Then we tell we say if you disenfranchise, who say you for go not to court? No. They say don't see her now. The APC as party don't begin see we the locals. Wait you don't tell them. Wait them for them idea to. They don't listen to we then say they don't get respect in we all. Now the foreign partners and stuff where they come. I think say they don't know that one they say This Natiwo for Sidon, we engage, we discuss, then we get dialogue over issues. And as you put the question to me, brother, now every time for say, when election done, we will begin put stiffer conditions. Let we all sit down now once and for all. Now this Solomon Sulu always can say, APC, SLPP, now two don't cry of these same electoral reforms. Let we all sit down now and say, in line with constitution now the reform, let we do electoral reforms.
All right, Solomon. Well, we'll just get about 5 more minutes for wrap up the show. But one quick one, another story they run at the A to Z newspaper and also the Global Times newspaper. Lungi Bridge in top gear. Engineering consultant assess feasibility of Lungi Bridge project.
Okay.
A team of consultants from the COWIA Consulting, a leading engineering firm in complex infrastructure designs, with particular expertise in bridge, tunnel, and marine structure, together with the country manager of the African Development Bank, engaged the Minister of Finance in a courtesy visit on their mission in Sierra Leone from the 27th to the 29th September 2023. This idea of this Lungi Bridge on there from time immemorial, since the days of Pakaba, I don't know about this bridge. The former government can also raise issue on them. And this government put so much emphasis on this Lungi Bridge. President time in and time out, they tell you, say, indeed, they work towards that. And recently, I don't know if you understand, say, but then another function, we say, indeed, that's what they deliver before end up in time. So how visible is this project? We don't follow through for how many years? The last time we don't see they do a visibility, some experts then come, so and the waters and see any concrete reports from Nautica. Now another consultancy firm don't come. We can do a visibility study also.
Okay. The last time we listen this team body bridge, now been 98.1. I think I've been listening to the former advisor to the president concerning infrastructure,
Dr.
Tambi.
Yeah.
According to him, then they just don't launch the project. That Sierra Leone get this opportunity where they want to make the contractor take the projects for make the bridge. Of course, we see the first Majiji, the Majiji we've been there around now. Tell me they all where you say I should be don't come out for go launch the bridge in process. But that's not the rumor. And follow your back say the Lungi Bridge in top gear.
Top gear.
Well, me as far as I can to development, I always the wish well.
Yeah.
I always the wish well. The only thing this got to do with negotiation, and that negotiation therefore like really benefits the country.
So as a country, are we resource equipped to embark in any kind of infrastructure?
Well, I believe the government, the non-toxic government, not get money for this. That is why they make a open to any investor we think say he go able for tap into them. So now outside government self get for play their own parts. Now for make sure say whosoever way they can do this business, they're able for do a negotiation with them where go benefit the country financially as well. Because Salon need money for do plenty other things there. And then for also make sure say the investor get the level playing field in terms of always for do. Then in all the environmental assessments for be well done, because again a huge investment and for the first time we can get so all the environmental assessment in the need for be well done for make sure say we get to environmental protection intact as a day. Because we no go want to see again something they can put bridge, we get say the fish they don't be lost now based on say something they don't do any environmental studies. I'm just being critical.
Obviously.
So we just hope it's a dream come true, but those areas really need to be looked at. They negotiate on behalf of the country, we go there in favor of the country as well. And let this say something we go last we long, then for do the environmental assessment according to the law. Then let the contract be awarded to the rightful contractor.
All right. Okay, shortly, Solomon, in less than 2 minutes. How economically viable is this project, the construction of this Lungi Bridge? Is it that the past contractor, the consultancy team, they cannot say they don't stand for benefit any much for make the withdrawal? Because we don't do for this for a very long time. President don't know in first time, and a second time they on.
Well, for
But
me,
still, they promise yes, he could deliver on this before.
for me, just like waiting, my brother say, I think say the possibly be the day when Dr. Tambi we don't build a foundation and we don't sell the idea to other investors them, without them for come, and likely, like waiting is say, we not get money for that. Now like then go build and transfer in the near future. But before that kind of thing they happen, all waiting with they say, I think say them go down do the environmental impact assessments, how the bridge for be constructed, how really it for become beneficial. When I read one of the area, I think say waiting this team come the African and the African is the African Development Bank and the other partners them. One they do a visibility studies as to how we transport system, for letting know the influx of transport. Because it get for be like a toll road. A toll road now, now how it get for consist. Within the period, how they will cover
and the economic value
the economic value where you ask for now. If they do all around it, I think say for me, it get for become economic viable. Now they use ferry. How much for go now across Lungi? 27, 50, or 50. So
VIP.
For me, I believe say that they not so for we now, but for generation yet unborn. And that area there, when you look at the Kafu Bolon area, it get vast economic land, it get agricultural potential, it gets in a way, in fact, within this side way for come by water, with people they die, but good thing they happen. But if you don't get that kind of way there, you understand, it will minimize, you understand the cost, and but good thing will happen where, in fact, the free zone will choke now for land. Extension will there. People are going to go do infrastructural development here and now. We go there beyond, and say we do clear the car walk. That land choke business within the urban area, it will reduce. All land in economic benefit. So, like the presidents, they still and we na man we in a talk and do and still emphasize and listen. We myself here say the Lungi Bridge is still go continue and as it talk would see back outside the African Development Bank and this team don't come inside. So, with time, let's hope for the better. Always they say, Lord not the preempt evil. Lord they think good for Sierra Leone because anything we can for Sierra Leone in better. Just like when my younger brother be say, now we the benefit. If the MCC, for example, we will let people not glamour for evil. For saying, no, now we go make with it, it not go continue for organ well with Sierra Leone. But we think about big thing and then we pray that it will happen. Inside we own time, Lord we enjoy them.
I believe say all Salon people they look forward to the successful implementation of this project because this don't be a long promise. We look forward to a successful implementation. Well, viewers now also will tap the program to the front page when they come to you in AYV television on channel 30, where they come to you every Monday to Friday from 11 to 12 in the morning. And plenty thank you to me two guests that we are getting this show this morning. We now Solomon Sundu, a civil society activist and also a colleague journalist Amaduba. Yeah. Thank you for being part of the show today. And maybe bring on the show to you. My name now is Joe Morovia and plenty thank you to my producer Edima Conte and also to the technical team who put together this show. Well, till we meet again next week, I want to say all plenty thank you and stay blessed and get a wonderful weekend.